Hi, Rosalie here from Elite Pathways Recruitment. As many of you know, that I recruit for chartered firms specialising in business services, tax accountants and office support staff across Sydney, right for the top tier firms, right down to boutique firms as well. So I came across something recently which really inspired this next summary of what I'm about to explain actually, which is how to work best with agencies, and I guess some things to look out for as well. So if you're working with an agency who you really trust and you get along with, just working with one agent is often enough, especially if that agent has long-term relationships in place. But just to broaden your options, sometimes a lot of people might want to register with 2 agencies, which is okay, but I probably wouldn't suggest registering with 5 because your resume will get fairly saturated in the market. So what I mean by that is that your resume may go to 50 clients, you might end up getting 10 interviews. Just you're going to be really confused, and actually finding an agent that listens to your needs and matches you to your wants is really important. So I guess that also brings me to the next thing as to how to make sure that's actually going to happen. So making sure that your agency understands what you're looking for. So what's the most important things to you in your next role? And when you're talking to agencies and when you're registering with them, be really clear to them that do not send out your resume to any client without getting your permission first. And what I mean by that is, I guess it's a very small world, and you don't want your resume sent out to maybe somewhere you've already interviewed, somebody your resume has already been represented to, and it really is up to you to make sure that you're tracking where your resume is going. So as an example, when I'm working with a candidate, I'll interview them, make sure I understand their background, make sure that I understand what their experience is and also what's important to them in their next role. As an agent, and that could mean, it could mean salary, it could mean working close to home, it could mean flexibility. I've been recruiting this industry now for 12 years, so I'm quite well networked in my understanding of each firm as well and what they provide. So I'm not going to send out someone's resume across the market and hope for the best. I'm going to actually be really targeted in the clients that I actually target. Anyway, that was a lot of targets there, but anyway. So before I represent, all agencies should work like this, but before I represent your resume to a potential client, I would find out about the role, if I don't already know about it, and even if I do know about it, I'll give you a call. I'll either say in the interview or I'll give you a call back and I'll say, okay, so I currently have XYZ client that's recruiting and they match your criteria in this regard. This is the role, these are the duties. Are you happy for me to send your CV? In which case you reply yes or no, or you might want to look at their website first. And then once I have your permission to send your CV across to them, then I will send your CV across. Now, that step is really, really important because I think accounting is a really small world. So what happens if maybe you've had some interaction with them in the past, that client, or maybe a partner where you're working knows a partner in the other firms. I've actually had it before where people said, please don't send my resume there. My partner who I work for is friends with that partner. Or somebody I know already works for that client. They're not necessarily happy. So there's a lot of reasons why we need to be getting your permission beforehand. The other thing as well, and this did come up recently, don't sign exclusivity with any agencies. You don't need to. So I know there's some agencies out there that say, can you sign this document where you will register exclusively with us, meaning that no other agency can represent you across to Norwest or Parramatta or North Shore or the eastern suburbs. We have exclusive rights to represent you to those areas. Do not do it. So do not sign anything like that. It's just limiting you really. And it's definitely not the right thing for an agency to do. So going back to that list, and something I should have highlighted as well, is when I say that I'm going to represent you to a certain client and you say, okay, I'll send your CV across to them. When another agency represents you to, when another agency calls you and says, I've also got a job for XYZ client, you'll say, oh, my CV has already been represented there. Please don't represent my CV here. Let them know. Because if your CV gets represented, if you're working across 4 agencies, all those agencies, if they have the same role on, your resume gets represented 4 times across to that client, it'll probably do you out of an interview, and it leaves a bad taste in the client's mouth. It makes the recruiters look unprofessional. It also makes you look unprofessional as well. So that's why often we say just register with 1, maximum 2 agencies. It's honestly, sometimes when people say to me they're registered with 5 agencies, I just won't even work with them. It's too hard. It's too hard to track where your resume is going. So in that regard, and likewise as well. So if I ring you and say I want to represent you to XYZ, and one other agent, if you're working with 2, they've already sent you there and they've covered you off, and then you say, actually, the other agent's already represented me there, so I won't send your CV across to them. It's also your job to track. So when you'll get covered up on roles, you write down a list as to where your resume's gone. So when someone asks you, as you've been represented here, you know if it's a yes or no, I'm not sure. It shouldn't be that difficult, really, because if the agents and yourself are doing the best thing possible and making sure we target the right firms, there shouldn't be an extensive list. So when agencies send you a list of 50 clients that they're going to send your resume across to, think about, have they actually listened to me? Am I going to get the work-life balance, the salary, the client relationship building, looking after my own portfolio, whatever was important to you? Am I going to get that with all those 50 clients they're sending me to? Because it should be a more targeted list. Otherwise, they're throwing darts, literally, and hoping for the best and hoping to place you and get the commission. So, just be really mindful. It's really important for agencies to actually listen and be targeted in their searches. So, I think that's everything. So the thing is, make sure that you're targeted in your searches. Register with 1, maybe 2. And if you're not having any luck with them within a week, register with 3 agencies. Make sure that the list is very targeted. Make sure you record where your resume is going. Make sure only one agent is sending your resume across to that client. Make sure you don't sign any exclusive rights to a particular agency. That's not required. And most importantly, if you don't feel comfortable with the agent who you interview with, you don't have to stay with them. You can actually move on and register with other agencies as well, with someone you feel comfortable with. That's really important. That agent is your voice, so you need to feel really comfortable with their professionalism. The way that they actually represent you in the market, you have to be really comfortable. So if there's any funny business, anything that doesn't seem right about somebody who you're working with, or you're not sure about their professionalism, just cut it off and register with someone you feel comfortable with. If there's any questions whatsoever, you can certainly give me a call, 0402 155 076. You drop me an email, Rosalie, ROSEALEE @elitepathways.net. And our website is www.elitepathways.net. If you're ever looking for work or have any recruitment related questions, give me a call. Thanks for your time.